Hey kids, it's Pastor Tony, and I have to start today's lesson by reminding you that today is Mother's Day. This is the main day of the year that kids of all ages celebrate their mom. You might get your mom a card. Maybe you color her a picture. You might write her a poem, sing her a song. You might even record yourself making a special video for your mom. You might buy her a special present, wrap it up, and give it to her. Or take her to go do something special. You might make her a meal. It might have been breakfast in bed. You might go somewhere to celebrate to her favorite restaurant. Or you might just give her space to help her relax and take a day off from being a mom. Moms do so much. They do so much for you and for me. And they do those things every single week. Some of the things we know about. Some of the things we don't even know they happen, but our mom does them for us. So for the next few minutes, we are going to do something extremely important for right now and for the end of our lesson. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to go get something to write with and something to write on. Go ahead, go do it now. Go get something to write with and something to write on. Maybe you can still hear me if you're on the other side of the room, like a pen, a pencil, a piece of paper, something to write with and something to write on. If you need more time, just pause the video and then turn it back on after you get your thing to write with and your thing to write on. So, here's what we're going to do. Now that you have your thing to write with and your thing to write on, we are going to make a list of at least 10 things that mom does for you every week. Make a list of at least 10 things mom does for you every week. They might be things that you see, that you know she does, or things that you're guessing she probably does that you didn't even know about. Let me see if I can think of some ideas. Oh, you might write down that your mom puts toothpaste on your toothbrush. You might write down that she helps you with school, online school, or just your homework when you get home from school. Maybe you want to write down that she does your laundry so that you have clean clothes during the week. She's the one who wakes you up each day, or the one who drives you to school, to church, to practice, to the friend's house. Maybe you want to write down that, she reminds you to grab your stuff before you leave the house. Or she spends time praying for you. Maybe you want to write down that she makes you try new food. She helps you to stand up for yourself, to learn new things. She teaches you new skills in life like shopping, cooking, how to talk to other people, kids or adults. Maybe you just want to write down that she shows you love every week by giving you hugs and kisses and cuddles and just listening to you when you talk. Whatever you want to write down, take the next minute or two and make a list of at least 10 things that mom does for you every week. Okay, now that you've got your list, just set that to the side. We'll come back to that in a little bit. But I want to remind you, moms do a lot for us. And there's a guy in the Bible that we have talked about several times whose mom did a lot for him in a very short amount of time. That guy's name was Moses. You remember who Moses was? He was a prince in the land of Egypt. He was the man who was chosen by God to take the Israelites and lead them out of Egypt, and then to become the first leader of the nation of Israel. Do you remember his mom's name? Yeah, she's mentioned in the Bible. Her name was Jochebed. The Bible doesn't have a lot to say about Jochebed. The main story that she's included in doesn't even mention her name. But there is quite a bit that we can learn about her from her story. And her story starts in the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 7. The people of Israel were fruitful and increased greatly. They multiplied and grew exceedingly strong, so that the land was filled with them. Apparently, the people of Israel had a lot of babies, and their babies grew up to be strong, and they had a lot of babies, and pretty soon the land of Egypt was filled with Israelites. The king, Pharaoh, he was getting a little concerned about how many Israelites were in the land of Egypt. So he said to his people, "Look, the people of Israel are too many, and they are too strong for us to handle. We must make plans against them. If we don't, the number of their people will grow even more. Then if there's a war, they might join our enemies. Then they could fight us and escape from the country." Pharaoh was worried. There were so many Israelites, and he thought that if another country would come to battle Egypt, all those Israelites, they might join the other country who was attacking, the enemy country, and they would end up fighting against Egypt. So Pharaoh came up with a plan. His plan was to turn all the Israelites into slaves. He put taskmasters in charge who forced the Israelites to build cities. They had to make their own bricks and the mortar, the stuff that held the bricks together. And even then, after that, they were forced to work in the fields to take care of the crops. Do you know what happened next? The Bible says the Egyptians forced the Israelites to work even harder. But this made the Israelites grow in number and spread more. So the Egyptians became more afraid of them. Pharaoh began to realize, oh man, my plan isn't working. All this work that they're doing is making the Israelites stronger, and they're still having all these babies, so there's more and more Israelites. I got to come up with a new plan. And he remembered that there were 2 nurses from Egypt that were helping all the Israelite mothers as they were having babies. So Pharaoh decided, here's what we'll do. Pharaoh said to the 2 nurses, when you're helping the Israelite women give birth to their babies, watch. If the baby is a girl, let it live. But if it's a boy, kill it. Whoa. A couple things here. That's intense. Purposely killing the babies. That's one thing. But let's move on to what Pharaoh said. He told the ladies, let the girls live, but kill the boys. Why would he kill just the boys? Can you figure it out? There's a couple reasons. Maybe because the boys were probably stronger than the girls. Maybe because the boys, when they grew up, they would be the ones who would be the soldiers. And then if the enemy country came, more boys meant more people fighting with the enemy against Egypt. But do you know what those 2 nurses did? The Bible says, but the nurses feared God. So they did not do as the king told them. They let all the boy babies live. The Israelites continued to grow in number, so they became even stronger. Pharaoh is probably angry. They didn't do what he told them to do. Now he's flustered. He's trying to figure out, what can I do next? This is still a problem, and he's getting worried. Maybe he's running out of ideas, and then he's got another one. And so Pharaoh turns to all the people of Egypt to ask for their help. And he says to all the people of Egypt, every time a boy is born to the Israelites, you must throw him into the Nile River. But let all the girl babies live. Pharaoh recruits all of the Egyptians to help him find the baby boys. These Egyptians are now searching. They're paying attention. They're listening. and they're reporting to Pharaoh that the babies are being born. There's a good chance that Pharaoh even sent his own soldiers out to hunt for newborn babies. And the Israelite mothers, when they were pregnant, they were probably sad. They knew what was going to happen. They were scared that someone would find and take their baby. They were horrified that their baby would be taken away. During this time is when Jochebed becomes pregnant. This is the time when she gives birth to a baby boy. And the Bible says that Jochebed, she saw how wonderful the baby was. And she hid him for 3 months. But after 3 months, she was not able to hide the baby any longer. This was her child. She knew what was going to happen to her child. And so, of course, when he was born, she would hide him. She wanted him to stay safe. She wanted him to survive. But after 3 months, she couldn't hide him anymore. Why would hiding a baby be so difficult? Think about it. Think about babies. Babies cry. Babies whine. Babies can be stinky. We'll say it again. Babies cry. So there's a good chance that her boy, who was now 3 months old, was just making a lot of noise. People could have heard him. People might have been wondering, what is that lady hiding in her house? We haven't seen her for so long. She was worried and concerned. So what does she do next? Jochebed gets a basket that was made of reeds that grew near the river. Reeds that were kind of mixed and woven together to form the basket. And she covers the basket with tar. Stuff that would make the basket waterproof so it could float. And then she puts her 3-month-old baby boy into the basket. She carries the basket and she hides it on the edge of the Nile River, mixed in with some of those reeds or those weeds that were growing nearby. The very same river that the Egyptians were supposed to throw the babies in to kill them when they were born. And then Jochebed leaves her baby there. She just walks away. That was probably hard for Jochebed. Here's her son that she has been cradling and hiding for 3 months. And now he's just in a basket on the side of the river and she walks away. I'm pretty sure that Jochebed deeply, deeply trusted God to take care of her son, to do with her son what God thought was best. The baby's older sister is named Miriam, and she decides to stay nearby to see what happens with the baby. And very soon, Pharaoh's daughter comes out to that area of the river, and being curious, she sees the basket and decides to look inside. And she finds a baby of all things. And she decides to keep the baby, but probably thinks to herself, I need some help. Just then, Miriam pops out and volunteers and says, Hi, that's an Israelite baby, and I could find you an Israelite woman who could help you with the baby. Well, Pharaoh's daughter was very thankful and said, Yes, please find me someone who can help raise this child. Do you remember who Miriam goes to get? The specific lady that Miriam goes to get to help raise this specific baby boy was Jochebed, the baby's mother. And Jochebed comes to the palace, and when she arrives at the palace, Pharaoh's daughter says to her, Take this baby and nurse him for me. I will pay you. So the woman, Jochebed, took her baby and nursed him. This boy lived with his mother for a while. According to what we understand from history, and even as we read what the Bible means when it uses the word nurse, that boy was with his mother for more than just a small time. It could be a few years. And during that time, it's probably a good guess for us to say that Jochebed, she taught her little boy all about God, about the one true God, about who he was, what he was like, and how her son could live to please him, to be like him. She was probably teaching her son to trust in the one true God. But eventually the boy had to go back to Pharaoh's house. After the child had grown older, the woman took him to Pharaoh's daughter. She, Pharaoh's daughter, adopted the baby as her own son. And Pharaoh's daughter named him Moses. And we know what happened to Moses when he grew up. He becomes the first great leader of the nation of Israel. And he continued following and trusting the one true God. And he continually was teaching the people about God, about who he was, what he was like, and how they could live to please him and be like him. Who was the person that had a huge impact on Moses, that taught him all about God. It was Jochebed, his mom. And do you know what we learned from her story? She trusted God. She taught Moses who God was and how he could trust him and how he could live for him. And Moses taught others to do those same things. My guess is that Moses was very thankful for his mom. She saved his life. She taught him about God and so much more. You are probably very thankful for your mom, right? I have an idea. What if you take that list that we made earlier, 10 things mom does for you every week. Show that list to mom. She may be surprised about some of the things you wrote down that you know she does for you every week. Tell her thank you for those specific things that you wrote down. You probably have something special planned. So if that fits into what you're doing, great. If not, that's fine too. But whatever you have planned for mom today, I hope that you enjoy celebrating Mother's Day. And make sure she knows how much you love her, how thankful you are for her. And don't forget the story of Jochebed. Moses, he was this awesome man that we can learn so much from, who also learned a lot from his mom, who was faithful to loving God. Moms, we love you. We're thankful for you. And I hope that you enjoy celebrating Mother's Day.